Imagine sailing across the Atlantic for more than 2 months. Storms, hunger, disease, death, and then one morning you finally see it. America, endless forests, fresh rivers, fertile land. It looked like paradise, the perfect place to build a new life. But within months, people began disappearing, not because of war, not because of wild animals, not because they couldn't build homes. Something else was killing them, something so ordinary that most settlers never realized. They were surrounded by it. And by the time they finally understood, it was already too late. To understand what really happened, we have to forget everything we think we know. Most people imagine America's first settlers fighting native warriors or freezing to death in brutal winters. Those things happened, but they weren't the biggest killers. The truth is far more surprising. During the early 1600s, thousands of Europeans crossed the Atlantic, chasing something almost impossible to find back home: land, opportunity, freedom, a second chance. When they arrived, the continent seemed almost endless: towering forests, rivers filled with fish, wild game everywhere. To many newcomers, it looked like God Himself had prepared this place for them. They believed their hardest days were behind them. In reality, their greatest danger had only just begun. The settlers worked tirelessly. They built wooden houses, cleared forests, planted crops, dug wells, stored food for winter. Day by day, their small settlement slowly grew. From a distance, everything looked successful. Smoke rose from chimneys. Children played between cabins. Fields stretched into the wilderness. It looked like the beginning of a nation. Then people started getting sick. First by one child. A few days later, his mother, then a neighbor, then another family. Soon, the settlement was burying people faster than it was building homes. The strangest part, no one could explain why. The settlers searched desperately for answers. Some blamed the weather, others blamed the swamps. Many believed the wilderness itself was cursed. Some even thought God was punishing them. Every death created a new theory, but every theory missed the real enemy, because the thing destroying their settlements couldn't be seen, couldn't be heard, couldn't be smelled, yet it was everywhere: in their water, inside their homes, even in the routines they trusted most. Then someone noticed something impossible. Two families living only a few hundred feet apart. One survived, the other lost almost everyone. Same weather, same land, same winter. So what made the difference? The answer would completely change the story of America's first settlers. The settlers believed they already knew the answer. Winter. The cold was brutal. Snow buried entire settlements. Rivers froze. Food became scarce. People shivered through endless nights inside small wooden cabins. Many died before spring, so it had to be the cold, right? Not quite, because something didn't make sense. Some families survived the exact same winter without losing a single person. Others, living only a short walk away, lost almost everyone. If winter was the killer, why didn't it kill everyone? Others blamed the land itself. America was unlike anything most Europeans had ever seen. Dense forests, unknown animals, unfamiliar plants, strange insects. Everything felt dangerous. Stories spread quickly: poisonous air, cursed swamps, deadly forests. Every unexplained death created another rumor. But once again, the evidence refused to fit, because settlers weren't dying only in the wilderness. They were dying inside their own homes. The safest place they had somehow become the most dangerous. To survive, families stayed together: parents, children, grandparents, sometimes 8 or 10 people shared a single wooden cabin. The fire burned constantly, windows stayed closed to keep out the freezing air. Everyone ate together, slept together, worked together. It felt safe, it felt warm, but without realizing it, they had created the perfect conditions for something to move silently from one person to the next. Still, no one knew it was there because no one could see it. Then people noticed something that changed everything. Some cabin lost nearly everyone. Others, right beside them, escaped almost untouched. The difference wasn't luck. It wasn't courage. It wasn't strength. There was a pattern, hidden, silent, invisible. But before anyone could understand it, another settlement began to disappear. The answer had been sitting right in front of them every single day. Settlers noticed strange things. Meat hanging above a fireplace lasted much longer. Cabins that stayed dry often had fewer illnesses. Flowing streams seemed safer than still ponds. Fresh air sometimes helped. Crowded rooms sometimes didn't. None of these observations made sense on their own, but together they formed a pattern no one could explain. Imagine living in a world where you don't know what causes disease. Would you boil your water? Probably not. Would you wash your hands before every meal? Why would you? Would you separate a sick family member from everyone else? Almost no one did. Not because they were careless, because no one knew. There was a reason to. Everything they did felt completely normal. And sometimes those ordinary routines became deadly. Even when a doctor arrived, hope didn't always follow. Early physicians worked hard. They observed, they recorded symptoms, they tried treatments, but they faced the same mystery as everyone else. Without understanding what was actually spreading disease, many treatments focused on the symptoms instead of the cause. The settlers trusted their doctors, the doctors trusted the knowledge of their time, and history had not yet revealed its greatest secret. Then, little by little, the clues began to connect. The danger wasn't hiding in one place. It wasn't the forest, it wasn't the winter, it wasn't the river alone. It followed people, their habits, their homes, their daily routines. The killer had never been hunting them. They had unknowingly been helping it. For hundreds of years, people searched for the wrong enemy. Bad air, bad weather, bad luck, even divine punishment. Then, during the 19th century, a handful of scientists began asking a question that sounded almost ridiculous. What if the real killer was alive? Not an animal, not a person, something so unbelievably small that no human being had ever seen it. Most people dismissed the idea immediately, even many doctors, because how could something invisible bring down entire settlements? It sounded impossible until the evidence became impossible to ignore. The microscope changed everything. For the first time, humanity looked into a world that had always existed but had never been seen. A single drop of water wasn't empty, it was alive. Tiny living organism, moving, being, multiplying. An entire universe, hidden in plain sight. Suddenly, centuries of mystery began making sense. The strange illnesses, the unexplained outbreaks, the families who disappeared without warning. History had finally uncovered its invisible world. Then historians noticed something remarkable. Long before science, some frontier families had accidentally discovered habits that quietly reduced danger. They dried damp cabins, stored food carefully, kept fresh air moving whenever possible, burned fires every single day, preserved meat with smoke, protected water supplies as best they could. None of it was magic.